What if you woke up one morning and realized you didn't exist? Not to the government, not to your family, not to God. That was me, a homeless girl with $4 and a photograph of a man who swore he'd find me. But the frontier doesn't care about your past. It cares about your next breath. I walked into that saloon because the cold was worse than the stares. The men turned like wolves, except one. He didn't look up. He just slid a whiskey toward the empty chair. And when he finally raised his eyes, I understood why they called him the ghost of the gallows. He asked me my name. I lied. He smiled. And that's when I knew the liar and the outlaw were the only honest people in the room. He wore his crimes like other men wore watches. The missing finger. The scar that didn't come from a knife fight. He told me later it was from pulling a girl out of a burning church. But that's not why they wanted him dead. I asked him why, and he leaned so close I could smell the gunpowder and rain. "'Cause I know where the banker's daughter is buried," he said. My hands started shaking, because that banker's daughter was me. I faked my death at 14, changed my name twice, but the frontier doesn't forget. It collects debts. And outside that saloon, a man in a black truck just made a phone call. "Found her," he said. "Tell the banker his daughter is alive." I came looking for mercy, but mercy was already loading its gun. Tension rose. He didn't ask if I could run. He just grabbed my wrist and pulled, through the kitchen, out the back door, into a rain so cold it felt like needles. "Don't look back," he said. "The men in suits don't miss twice." We ended up in a junkyard, a dead bus, a broken windmill. He shoved me inside and locked the door. Then he lit a match, and that's when I saw the wall. Newspaper clippings. Headlines, his face, my father's name, a trial that never happened. He was the sheriff, 10 years ago. He testified against my father, and my father buried him, framed him for murder. Mark touched my face with those trembling hands. "Your father burned down an orphanage," he whispered. "Now you have to decide, stay dead or help me kill the truth." I chose the truth. I just didn't know it would cost us both everything. Dawn came cruel and cold, frost on the windows. I couldn't sleep, not because I was scared, because I remembered him, from before, when I was 8 years old and he was a deputy with a smile. He gave me a lollipop at the town fair, saved me from a runaway wagon. I called him Sheriff Smiles. Now he was a ghost, and I was the reason. I pulled out a second photograph, a deed to a silver mine, worth $40 million. My mother left it to me. My father faked my death to steal it. That's when we heard the gravel, tires, 3 men with rifles. One knocked on the bus door. "Mr. Callahan," he said, "the banker offers a trade. The girl for your life." I grabbed Mark's hand. "Don't," I said. "I'd rather die free than live his lie." And Mark smiled. The first time I'd seen it. "Then let's make them work for it." That's when I knew. He wasn't going to trade me. He was going to die with me. He kicked open that door and fired twice. Not at the men, at the propane tank. The explosion turned dawn into noon. I grabbed a shotgun. "Ever fired one?" he yelled. "I've read about it," I screamed back. He laughed. Right there with bullets flying, he laughed. "Read this," he said. I fired, hit a truck tire. Men dove for cover. We ran into a cornfield, stalks whipping our faces, blood in the dust. We reached a ravine, a hidden motorcycle under camo netting. "Hold tighter than you've ever held anything," he said. I wrapped my arms around him, my cheek against his scarred back. His heart was pounding, or maybe that was mine. At that moment, I couldn't tell the difference. We raced toward a mountain, a ghost town, he said. No law, no mercy. "Sounds like home," I whispered. And for the first time in 10 years, I meant it. The ghost town rose out of the dust like a bad dream. Wooden sidewalks, a church with no roof, a saloon with its mirror full of bullet holes. "This place died in 1887, Mark said. "Gold ran out, so did hope. But death doesn't mean empty, it means waiting." That's when we heard it, a creak upstairs. Mark drew his gun. I grabbed a rusted fire poker. A figure emerged, an old woman with a lantern. "Mark Callahan," she said. Still running, I see. He called her Maggie, said she was supposed to be dead. She laughed. So are you, so is she. She pointed at me. I'm your mother's sister, she said. The one the banker paid to disappear. She had tears in her voice and said, I had an aunt. They told me she drowned. She opened a floor hatch, a tunnel. The mine entrance is under this town, she said. Your mother hid the deed inside a grave. Your father never found it. Whose grave? Mark asked. Maggie looked at me. Yours, child, the fake one he built to bury the truth. The tunnel walls dripped with water, older than my shame. My shadow looked like a ghost following me. How do you visit a grave that has your name but not your bones? I asked myself. Then we found it, a headstone. My name, my birth year, and the year I was supposed to have died in a fire. Mark pried open the concrete lid. Inside wasn't a deed. It was a videotape. My mother's face, recording everything, the bribes, the murders, the judge my father killed. Maggie said it would put him in prison for life. That's when we heard boots, above us. A man's voice echoed down. Miss Hart, your father invites you to dinner. Bring the tape, or we'll bury you for real this time. I looked at Mark. His jaw was tight. What if I say no? I called back. The man laughed. Then your cowboy dies first. That was the moment I stopped being a victim and started being a weapon. Love is not a feeling. Love is a decision you make while the world is on fire. Mark looked at me in that crypt and said, Give them the tape. Save yourself. I'll hold them off. I grabbed his collar. Don't you dare play the martyr. Things became emotional. I'm already dead, he said. Wanted posters. No future. You have a chance. A chance for what? I whispered. A life without you? He tasted like gunpowder and regret. And I wanted more. I pulled out a lighter. What are you doing? He asked. They want the tape, I said. But they don't know I made 5 copies. Maggie has one. 2 are in mailboxes. The last is in my boot. He grinned. You're more frontier than I am. I lit the tape on fire. Come home with me if you can. The frontier said, I'm done running. Let's burn it all down. And for the first time I saw hope in a dead man's eyes. I walked out of that crypt alone, the tape burning in my hand. I dropped it at my father's feet. There's your evidence, I said. Now let him go. My father stepped forward, gray suit, cold eyes. Hello, dead daughter, he said. You look well for a corpse. You look evil for a father, I said. He demanded the copies. One with a reporter, one with the FBI, one with Maggie, your sister-in-law, I told him. His face twisted. Kill the cowboy, he ordered. That's when Mark appeared behind him. A knife to my father's throat. I'd think twice, Mark said. The FBI is already at your mansion. Maggie called them 10 minutes ago. My father laughed. Bluff. Then we heard the sirens, getting louder. The men dropped their guns, one by one. My father whispered, You ruined everything. I looked him in the eye. No, father, you did. The day you forgot that a homeless girl is still a girl, and a frontier always takes its due. 6 months later. Sunrise over a ranch that wasn't mine, but became mine. My father got 40 years. The mine went to a children's home, and Mark, he wasn't a fugitive, he was an FBI agent, undercover for 3 years to bring down my father. I sat on that porch with my coffee. You lied to me, I said. He sat beside me. I fell in love with you, he said. That wasn't a lie. The frontier said, Come home with me if you can. And I did. Not to a place, but to a person who saw me when I was invisible. A homeless girl with $4 and a torn photograph. A dead sheriff with a scar that wasn't real. They say the frontier is closed. They're wrong. It never closes. It just waits for the brave, for the broken, for the ones willing to ask the third question. What if home isn't a place, but a person who refuses to let you disappear? There and then, he said it. Come home with me if you can. The door's open, and the coffee's warm.